This is the last podcast of 2020. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Mastadon Creates podcast, episode 37. My name is Tori, or Victoria, the mastermind behind the crazy, and thank you for joining me today. You can find me in a few places on the internet. We'll go there first. You can find me on Instagram as Tori Schaffner. I'm most active there. You can find me on Ravelry as lilwestie, lilwestie. You can of course find my show notes on the blog, woolymastodon.wordpress.com, as well as actually a few archived printables. And you can find me on Facebook. I'm not as active there, and of course on YouTube. Let's see, with that, let's get into it today. And I actually had to double check. Today is Saturday, December 19th, and it's actually the last podcast episode of the year, because next weekend is Christmas. I won't be podcasting, and then the following weekend is New Year's, and it'll be January 2nd? I still have the November calendar open here. Anyway, it will be new 2021 for my next episode, so happy last podcast of the year, ending on episode 37, so not too shabby. This episode I actually have quite a few things to show, including a couple finished objects that have nothing to do with Christmas knitting. So we'll show the simple one first. You maybe were figuring these were coming eventually. And I finished my toe-up socks. These are knit out of the Opal Rainforest line in the color Sweetie on US 1, which are 2.25 millimeter needles. On my horrible homemade sock blockers, but you know, we use what we got. I've just never wanted to spend the money on actual ones. I'd rather spend it on yarn to knit other things, so there is that. But yeah, I like these. I knit these with a slightly shorter leg length, just because I kind of wanted something in between, and I really like them. I think they're super soft. They're really pretty. I actually knit these at a certain point. I stopped knitting them from home, and I knit them only at work. I broke that rule last night to knit the last few decrease rounds on a heel to finish these up. And I also broke the rule to pick up the stitches from the heel. I didn't think I could focus and do that at work. So, these are done. I'm really happy. I like these a lot. And I know I said I wouldn't be knitting any more socks for myself, but I'm very, very much leaning towards knitting myself some shorty wool socks. So I might get into that at some point here. But I have some other things to knit first. So these are done. I love them. They're such a bright color. Yeah. First finished object. My second finished object is actually rather exciting. Story here, but I finally finished my Hedgehog mittens by Spilly Jane. They're not perfect. They are 100% not perfect, but I haven't blocked them. But this is the back. I don't know if you'll be able to see the hedgehog faces and the little hearts. I don't know if I'll block them. I should block them to relax the color work a little bit. And then the inside of the mitt looks like this, with all this color work. The thumb is striped. Don't focus on me, focus on the mitten. But yeah, this is what they look like. Now, if I take, they look fine on the cuffs. This cuff I found out I knit wrong. I did a knit 1 purl 2 rib, and it's supposed to be a knit 2 through back loop, I think, purl 2 rib. So this one is correct. This one's not as balloony as the other one, but you'll notice they might be looking like slightly different sizes. I don't really notice it a whole lot when I'm wearing them, but I started on this mitten and my gauge is extremely loose and it gets tighter as it goes up, and this mitten is even tighter. So they are slightly different sizes, but in reality it actually worked out because my right hand is the one that's got a slightly looser mitten, so I don't know. I've worn these to drive a few times. I've worn these to work because I'm not going to not wear these. They're done. So I've worn these to work, and they're actually quite comfortable. They're warm because here I'll show you on the inside. This is what it's all floats of all the extra yarn that's not being used. This side's not as pretty because my duplicate stitch isn't that great. But that's the other thing. I did a new thing. I've never done duplicate stitch, and duplicate stitch is how I got the little light colored faces on the hedgehogs. I'm not the greatest at it, I will admit at this point. I had never done it before, so that's totally fine. They're not perfect. They are done, and I'm really happy I knit these. I don't know that I knit them again. There are a lot more color work mittens with more detail. The hedgehogs are cute, but they're a little hard to tell they're hedgehogs, I think. So yeah, I'll block these and continue to wear them. I really like them. I'm glad they're done. They're super cute, and I'm proud of them. These were knit on US 1 2.25mm needles, and these were knit out of Knit Picks palette. The green is the Celadon Heather, the brown is Bison, and then the white for the faces is Oyster Heather. So these are done. They only took me like over a year to complete, but I mean, once I picked these back up, I flew through these. So I am really glad they're done. I really like them. They're super warm, even though they're thin. So it's really nice for driving because they're not super thick glove mittens. And I kind of prefer mittens to gloves because it keeps your fingers warmer. So those are done. Moving into works in progress. Nothing new to see here. Let's start with the sweater project I have on the needles. This is the Featherweight cardigan, or just I think it's just Featherweight by Hannah Fettig. Let's see, I have yarn absolutely everywhere right now. Why is it all attached? Why is it so emotionally attached? I have a lot of yarn attached to this thing. There it is. Welcome to my nest. But this is the Featherweight cardigan by Hannah Fettig. It is a paid for pattern. It is top down. So as you can see, I have knit quite a bit. I have tried this on. It fits perfectly, and I'm really looking forward to it. Since the last podcast, you can see where the stitch marker top is. That is about how much I've knit. I've knit a couple inches, 2 to 3 inches on it. I've been working on other things like the mittens. I wanted to really finish those, and then my socks at work. So these haven't gotten as much love, but I have put, that's probably more like 3 inches on here. So not bad. I got to knit a little bit longer, and then there'll be, I believe, ribbing at the bottom. I have 3 skeins left, and I'm only on my first 2. So we're veering into the tale of woe here. I'm only on my first 2, but this is all I have left. I have to knit sleeves, and I have to knit a larger band around the front for a collar. And I'm genuinely thinking I'm going to have to order more yarn. I like before, I know I said this before, but like the further I get on this, we'll see how far I get, but I'm guessing I'm going to have to buy more yarn. So I actually might knit the sleeves first, and then once the sleeves are knit, go on and start knitting the collar. And if I have to use a different color yarn, or use the same color yarn but in a different dye lot completely, at least as the collar, it might not look as weird. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. I might have to buy more yarn. So I was going to make an order for Knit Picks for my birthday. And I've been waiting because I'm just going to wait and see if I have to order more of this before I order anything else. And I want to get past the holidays because everybody's ordering everything this year. But yeah, I'm really liking this. This is knit on US 3.25mm needles, and then the color is Knit Pick Stroll Tonal in the Eucalyptus colorway. And I am quite enjoying this. I think it's going to be a beautiful cardigan, and I think it'll be perfect for winter and spring. So if I could, get on it and work on it, I could have a very nice cardigan for layering at work. Actually, just all year at work because air conditioning. And then our heat wasn't really working properly earlier this week at work, and they had to have someone come in and fix it. So it was cold on Monday. But anyway, had a Featherweight cardigan by Hannah Fettig. That is my first work in progress. Everything's on the floor. My second work in progress has graduated from the small bag officially. It is official. My granny stripe blanket does not fit in a smaller bag anymore. And yes, you may be like, well, it's because you've got this basket in there. yes, I've got this basket in there. I'm using it to wrangle my yarn right now. But I made one more magic cake, and there is no way a magic cake and that yarn and that Afghan, as far as I am with it, will fit. So I have caked up one more magic cake. I think I have enough yarn to do actually a fourth. And then I don't have any scrap yarn left in fingering weight. I am out. I've tapped my supply. That's actually not entirely true. I have a few scraps from projects I just finished. I'm not including the projects from the Hedgehog mitts, or the yarn from the Hedgehog mitts, because you use so little that I could use that conceivably for another even mitt pattern. I'm thinking of just making hand mitts, not mittens. So I'm not going to include that, but I have the yarn left over from my Birds and Ships cowl. I have the yarn left over from those socks that I could add. So I've got some yarn that I could add in, but even then, I got about one more magic cake worth of yarn left, and then I either have to just work on projects slowly or buy mini skeins. I may have been researching mini skeins. Haven't ordered anything, probably won't order anything until the new year, but I really like this project. But needless to say, I don't remember how far I was since we last spoke, but this is all I have left of this third magic cake. Not much at all. And this is how far I am. I've put on a few rows since we last talked. I mean, it's getting to the extra chunky scarf stage. And yeah, Minette loves laying on it. I love working on this. Like, maybe it'll be good when I run out of yarn for this, because then I'll actually work on other things. Because all I want to work on is this Afghan. And I think it's ironic, because for years I have been sitting on those scrap sock yarn, and I'm like, well, maybe I want to make more socks out of it, or a sweater. And I kept thinking about this, especially when these first started rolling around and I was seeing these types of patterns, and I kept thinking about it, and I was just like, I really want to do that. Because about the only type of blanket I truly enjoy making is some form of granny square stripe blanket. That's like the kind I like to make, and this is exactly that. So this has taken over so much of my time. It's getting quite large. It is extremely bright and in your face and all over the place, but those are the types of projects I knit, so I'm really not mad. I know a lot of people color manage and they use a lot of neutrals. I don't own a lot of neutral yarn, and that is coming to bite me in the butt. I'm going to have to figure that out for future sweaters, because about all the ready-to-wear sweaters I own are gray at this point, and I need to branch out, but I don't want neon sweaters. Like, I probably want some browns and stuff, which is crazy to say, with pops of neon. Ooh, I think I know what I'm doing. But this blanket is me. This is like my history of knitting. There are so many scraps in here, really old scraps that I've been saving for years and years. And I'm not mad at it. I really enjoy it. I am crocheting this on a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook from Knit Picks with the grip, and I really like it. It's great. This is highly recommend. And I am using fingering weight yarn in Magic Cakes. And I was just going to make a comment here. If anyone is starting out knitting, I highly recommend, or crocheting, I highly recommend Knit Picks crochet hooks, and I highly recommend Knit Picks knitting needles. I use their interchangeables. I have never used any other interchangeable set because I got this set. It's relatively complete, and I really like them. I've had them for years. My grandma actually helped me start my collection. When she found out I was going to get interchangeable knitting needles, she helped me purchase the set, and then I've been adding to it since, and I really like their fixed circulars as well, in the metal and the wooden, so I just got to put that out there. I really love Knit Picks tools, notions. I have their ball winder, I have their Swift, so big Knit Picks fan over here. But yeah, that is my last work in progress. No spinning, no sewing. I have not done any of that. And actually, maybe I'll get to that next week, because it's Christmas and it's going to be, I don't know, it'll be weird because, you know, 2020, but maybe I'll get some time to do that. Otherwise, upcoming cast-ons. I do have one because I just cast off a pair of socks, so naturally I need to cast on a pair of socks, and I believe the next pair of socks I will be casting on are with this. This is some yarn from Hobby Lobby. It's their Yarn Bee Authentic Hand-Dyed Tonal in the Hazel Basil. I bought this a couple weeks ago, over a month ago now, maybe. I don't know. Time is running together. And I'm pretty sure I'm just going to pair, I think I'm going to do black heels, toes, and cuffs. Because these socks are going to be for my dad. These do not have nylon in them. They're 100% superwash merino wool. So I think I'm just going to give him some washing instructions with it, and so they're not going to wear as well because they won't have the nylon, but they're going to be nice and warm. So I'm not super worried about it. But it's a really pretty green, tonal green, and there's actually a little bit of purple in here, which I didn't notice at first, and I love it. But yeah, it's really, really pretty. And then I'm just going to pair it with some Knit Pick Stroll fingering weight in black for the heels, toes, and cuffs. So upcoming cast on here, and I need to get this cast on preferably this weekend so I have something to knit at work. Let's see, stash enhancements, or actually before we even get into that, other upcoming cast ons. Christmas Eve cast on. I did it for the first time last year. It's my hat knit out of a homespun house yarn, Christmas yarn, and DK weight, and I don't remember what colorway it was. But I love that hat, and I've been wearing it every day, especially on the way to and from work. So I'm debating casting on another hat for myself. Do I need another hat? No. Do I want to knit myself another hat? Yes. So I'm really debating casting on another hat and maybe just winging it. I like to do that with hats. Hats are easy to wing, so maybe I'll just do my own thing for a hat. I also want to cast on a blanket, another crocheted blanket. This would be a gift for someone, so I have to decide what type of blanket I'm going to do. I was debating doing another granny stripe, but in worsted weight yarn. But that's, with worsted weight, and I have like a full skein of yarn that I'm starting with, it wouldn't look right, and I'd have to break it up a lot. So I'm genuinely thinking I might do granny squares and then seam them together. I haven't decided yet, but that might also be a Christmas Eve cast on. Or maybe I'll just start both that day because I have the day off. We'll see. Anyway, moving on. No stash enhancements. Hopefully in the new year because I have some money for my birthday that I would like to buy some yarn with, but we'll see. Non-knit loves. I did want to talk about a couple things this time. I don't know if I've shown this before. I maybe have. But this lovely guy, I don't know if you can tell, is a book light. And I initially got this because my husband has to go to bed earlier than I do. And gets up earlier than I do for work. And so if I want to read in bed, this is less invasive. It has 3 light settings. It's the Vecchia, it's just a Vecchia book light off Amazon. It's a very, very flexible cord. It's rechargeable. It's LED. I really like it. And I've seen a few makers online use this for like cross stitch, or if they're creating something, they'll just clip this to something near them for extra light. And I thought that was ingenious because this is absolutely perfect for it. It was like $14 on Amazon. A little more expensive for a book light than I paid in the past, but it's working far better than a book light, a cheap book lights I've purchased in the past. It does have a pads for like if you clip it on a book. I'm quite happy with it. I normally use it on the medium setting for light because I'm blind. I'm actually not, but like I have trouble with low light reading because I need new glasses. So the medium light is perfect. And I haven't used this for crafting, but we're going to try it. I thought that was a really good idea because then I can have all the lights off, just have the Christmas lights on in the evening, and use this for a little extra light to craft. I think this is a win. Other than that, we'll just move into life lately. I've been really enjoying everything Christmassy. Some days I feel less Christmassy because it's just been an odd year. But otherwise, a couple weeks ago I decorated my desk for Christmas. It was kind of funny because last year everybody decorated for Christmas and a lot of people had trees at their desks, and now there's less of us in office. But my coworker was like, "You're not going to decorate for Christmas?" And I just said, well, I was kind of waiting to see what other people did. She's like, oh, you can decorate. So I brought all my stuff in. I sense it was they didn't want to decorate, but they were hoping that I would. So I have 3 sets of Christmas lights strung around my cubicle, so to speak. It's not a full cubicle, it's like a corner, but because they have us open to each other. And I have a Christmas tree behind my monitors, a 3-foot Christmas tree, and with lights. 3 foot? 2.5 foot? I think it's a 3 foot. With lights, and I have ornaments hanging off my Christmas lights. It makes the room so much brighter and cheerful, so that's nice. I was been doing some Christmas baking. Last weekend I had my last extra day off, and I baked gingerbread cookies, and I made my husband chocolate chip cookies, and I made him Rice Krispie treats, and it was a really fun time. And I want to bake a few more things. I have stuff to make pumpkin pie, so I might do that. We'll see what I do. But otherwise, it's the countdown to Christmas. Thursday is Christmas Eve. Friday is Christmas. And it's crazy. Kind of sad because my husband has to work Christmas Day, but he only works a partial day, so that's good. And Christmas Eve was typically the day my family traditionally celebrated Christmas anyway. So I think it'll be nice. I'm looking forward to the time. I obviously won't be podcasting next week. I'll podcast in the first weekend in the new year. But otherwise, yeah. This is the last podcast of 2020. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you all have a safe and happy Christmas. Merry Christmas to everyone. I'm going to sign off here. If you like what you see, you can also find me on Instagram. I'm Tori Schaffner there, and I'm a little more active there if you want to see what I'm working on. You can find me on Ravelry as lilwestie. Show notes are on the blog, woolymastodon.wordpress.com. I am on Facebook. I'm just not as active there as myself, and also Woolly Mastodon. Links are below if you're interested in any of these things. And obviously you can find me here on the YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this channel, please like it, subscribe, share it with your friends. Just join this lovely community I have on the interwebs. And with that, I hope you have a very, very Merry Christmas, and I will see you in my next episode. Bye. In case you were watching this and wondered what my shirt says. Chill. Brought to you by the Abominable Skinny.